It's World of Dance Night here on AfterBuzz TV, Season 3, Episode 8, The Cut 1. And you guys got to remember, first cut is the deepest.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome on into AfterBuzz TV. It is World of Dance Night. We're hitting the cut 1. I'm Kristyn Burtt. We're so excited because we have a guest tonight.
Yay!
Yay!
Who is it?
Who is it? I'm going to introduce him first before I introduce my panel. It's Derion Loman. Yes, of Derion and Madison.
What up?
Congratulations. You had a good night.
Yes. We did have a good night. It was pretty great.
We're super excited to have you here. But without further ado, I need to introduce my lovely panel. Hello, Princess.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be back and to talk to you. I have so many questions. I'm ready to get into it.
All right, I love it. Tiege, welcome back.
Yay, hey, thanks. Oh my gosh. I'm Tiege Dooley-Panko. I'm really excited to be here. We're back, and this is exciting.
I know all four of us are here. AJ's here too. Woo.
Hey everyone, this is AJ, and I'm ready to get to it. We have a lot to talk about.
Yep, and she's holding up the live chat, so if you have any questions for Derek.
Is in it too, so
We're all in
we
there.
all in there. Yeah.
I'm not in it. I'm not in it. You are.
We're
That's
talking about you, if that's
perfect.
not weird.
Okay. Not weird at all. It's typical, right? All right. Well, you know, what I want to do is we're going to go a little out of order. I would love to start with your number and talk a little bit also about how you got to World of Dance, because everyone has a different story of how you got to Season 3. Because a lot of times producers like sneak in and slide into DMs and say, hey, we'd like you to audition. What was your story?
Well, for me, I actually had auditioned with another group, so I technically would have been in the upper teams. And so we made it through the first round. We got to like interview and all that jazz. And then unfortunately, it didn't work out for that group. And I thought, hey, you know, why don't I reach out and see if it's possible for me to do my own thing? And so I sent an email with a couple of links, and they were like, yeah, do you want to come back for the second LA audition? And so I grabbed my best friend, Maddie, who I had made some stuff with, or well, everyone knows her as Madison now.
We can call her Maddie.
I call her Maddie.
We're buddies.
Yeah, and I grabbed her and I was like, hey, do you maybe want to do World of Dance with me? And she was like kind of laughed and then was like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do World of Dance? Because I think for some people, they want exposure. Other people want the competition. There's different reasons for wanting to be on the show.
Maddie and I had found that we were watching things and we were like, man, if like they had an outside eye, this could happen. Or like, oh, if I was doing it, I would have done it like that. And then we were like, or we can just go and do it ourselves rather than complain about it. And so we really feel like it's important because, you know, we aren't the typical contemporary dancers. We kind of like flip it on its head a little bit and find all the different ways that we can move and tell a different story each time. And so it's not the like legs, feet, and turns. That's an amazing thing, but there's also a place for the dancers who do other things other than that.
Oh, I love that. All right, well, let's get right into the cut.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get right. Yeah. You have Derek Hough, who is your mentor for
Yes.
the entire upper division. What was that experience like?
Derek is exactly how he is on camera, off camera. Like, he just walks in and he's at a 10. And you're like, okay, well, now I have to be there because otherwise, like, I'm just going to feel like, his energy's just like there. It's just amazing because he's such a knowledgeable resource to have as your mentor. He, you know, at one point he was like, can you like lift Maddie like that? May I? And then he like grabbed Maddie and like swung her around and did this whole thing. And to be able to stand out and watch that with our choreography, it's so helpful. And he actually threw a couple things in there that we ended up putting into the piece.
Ooh. What is there anything in particular that he added that would stand out to anyone who watched the number tonight?
Yeah, probably. It's like there's a part where I like take Maddie, she does this beautiful layout, and then she grabs her ankles like backwards in like this arch, and I swing her around in that position. He was the one who gave us that as like a little tidbit.
Two-time Emmy Award-winning choreographer, no big deal.
NBD, chilling.
Do you guys, anyone have questions too? I don't want to dominate the...
Oh, no. Well, I wonder what your process is like. Does this take you guys forever to figure new stuff out? Or is it like a lot of improv? What does it look like in the studio?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Everything that you just said. So basically, Maddie and I start off improving with each other a lot of the time, and you would be amazed at how many things end up on the cutting room floor.
Right, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so we improv, and we're like, okay, like out of that improv, I like this idea. Okay, let's riff off of that, and keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And that's how we start our process. And we're both Virgos. Our birthdays are 7 days apart, actually. Yeah. And so we're both very meticulous about the pieces. And so we're choreographing and we think like, yeah, that's a good chunk. And then we do it and we're like, that was 3 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a
Right.
very time-consuming process, but at the end we're super happy with it. So that's like the difference. We like make sure every moment is kind of jam-packed.
Right.
As a duo, each of you bring something to the table. What do you bring to the table that really helps you guys out, and what does she bring to the table?
I think what I bring is a lot of creativity with partnering, because that's sort of a place where I have a lot of experience. I danced for a company prior to this, Pilopolis, and that's a lot of the stuff that company is known for: weight sharing, partnering, and improvisation. Maddie is like the idea sounding board. Like, I will watch her go. She's like, we can do it like this, we can do it like that, we can do it like this, we can do it like that. And I'm like, the third one. And then I do it so she can see it, but like she's just popping ideas out left and right. So it's really, really helpful.
I love to hear that. Now,
Yeah,
Pilopolis still based on the East Coast?
Yes.
Connecticut, I think? Was it?
Yes, Connecticut.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. If you guys have not seen any of Pilopolis' work, it's amazing. Amazing. They started out at Dartmouth back in the 70s. So really long history and fascinating history too. I don't know. Did they give you guys like the whole history when you're working with them? And
Yes, absolutely. 4 men out of Dartmouth in 1971. They were taking a dance class for an elective credit, and then they ended up forming an entire dance company with their teacher, who basically was like, I'm not going to teach these 4 knuckleheads technique.
Right.
I'm going to teach them how to create, because they're already doing things outside of the box because they don't have a prior dance vocabulary.
Yeah, and they created basically their own style, language, and a lot of people try to imitate it, but there's nothing like what Pilopolis does. So go and fall down the rabbit hole on YouTube, you guys. Definitely worth it. All right, so preparing for the cut. This is a big deal. You're at the 3rd round of the show. And at what point do you know like what's at stake? Do you feel it now at this point? You feel the pressure?
So this was one of the craziest weeks for me and Maddie. So we actually were at this crossroad where we had to decide whether or not we were going to leave the dance company that is where we met, actually. And so we sat down and we were like, do we pursue this thing or do we stay with what we've already been doing? And it was the difference between having a steady job, a steady paycheck, or knowing that we're ending that and just jumping off the cliff and hoping we can fly. And I think that really lent itself to the process, because we ended up making something that we're both so very proud of.
Wow.
I know that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
Take us through that decision-making process, because especially here in LA, like that, I feel like everyone's like day job or pursue, your dream full time. What was that process like for you individually, and then as a duo?
I think for me, I always talk to my dad about things, and basically he was just like, is dancing for somebody else what you want to do for the rest of your life? And I was like,
Good advice.
no.
Yeah.
Really good.
He was like, do you want to be creating your own work? And I was like, yes. And he's like, so go create your own work then. And when you hear it from someone else so concretely, you're like, yeah, that's exactly right. It's just getting over the fear of going out there and doing it. And then as a group, we were like, what happens if we do this and people don't like it?
But they do.
Fortunately, they do.
Chandler really liked it. Do you have PTSD from the tick, 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 tick? Just asking.
Every single person who has been on that show knows that those 4 ticks are like,
So it was amazing. I was at World of Dance Anaheim, and a lot of like Julian and Charlize performed. A couple of people that have been on the show this season, and a lot of them are leaving the ticks in their music. So it's the actual music that was used on World of Dance, and you hear tick, 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 and then it's become a cue now.
and that's literally today. We performed today, and that same thing happened. We like used the same track, and those 4 takes went, and we were like,
You mentioned something really interesting about the LED stage and the floor that we've been talking a lot about this season, and you guys made a decision to kind of scale back, and it became kind of a big production decision. But can you walk us through that?
oh yeah. You know, it's an amazing stage that they have over there, and there's so much to it. And so Maddie and I were talking about it, and we were like, sometimes we feel like we get swallowed up because there's so many things going on. And this is really a piece about us and our relationship and what we're actually going through. You know, we're at this crossroad. Do we stay where we are? Do we go? And we wanted everyone to like kind of quiet down and like watch all of that. And so we asked if we could maybe tone down the LED screens. Bless you, my child. Bless you. Yeah, so we asked if we could just tone it down a little bit. And at first, there was like a little bit of a, you don't want to use the LED screens? And we were like, no. And after a little bit of back and forth, and our producer was so supportive on it the whole time. She was like, you guys are great. We want to see this. And so this was actually the first time that they let someone do that, and they brought in like actual stage lighting versus like TV lighting for us to do this, and it really helped bring the whole thing into a different perspective.
To feel very intimate, I imagine, because that's the way to do it instead of all these lights and everything else. But on the TV side, you have to remember they spent a lot of money on this stage, so they want to show it off and use it as much as possible. Yeah, so there's always two sides to the story, but I love that you fought for your art.
Yeah.
Really smart observation too to make for you guys to tell the story accurately.
Thank you.
So it was stunning, obviously. If we haven't already
We
expressed
love
that.
this. And this, I was finally at this show. You know, all season I'm like, all right, I have seen these people, but this one, I actually saw you and Madison perform live, and we were talking a lot about the emotion inside the room, and it was very powerful. I think that's the one thing when you watch it live, it just, you have that, you get to feel it instead of across the TV screen. It's a little bit different.
And that's something we, as like Maddie and I always are encouraging people, like, Maddie and I are always encouraging people. We're like, you can see amazing things on television, but there's something that you only get with live dance. You have to go and see people dance live. There's like an electricity in the atmosphere. You feel them, you see them looking at you, and you're actually connecting with them. And that's something that's lost right now because we're so involved with like
Our screens.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, and I think other people who, we see certain dances and we have an emotional connection to some, and then for others we don't. And some of the songs I've heard, I wonder, like, I should have an emotional connection, but I don't. What do you think is the difference between those performances that give you the goosies and those performances where it's like, I wanted it, but it just didn't happen? Like, how do you do that as a dancer?
I think it starts with your relationship with the person you're dancing with. Because Maddie and I care about each other so much and have gone through so much together, that connection between the two of us is already there. And so I think that's what it's about, because we all, if you think about the plot line of movies and anything that you really like that grips you, it's a story that you can relate to. And so we can all relate to a relationship between two people because we have them every day with several people. And so if you can really articulate and live that relationship for real on stage, then that's what resonates with people.
Authenticity. I always say it. It's, you know, when it's actually there and you're dancing exactly the way that relationship works on or off stage, people feel it.
Yeah.
People believe it.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important.
Like we were for real dancing for like our lives, our careers, our everything. Like, so that's why it felt like that. It felt desperate. The piece was desperate. We were at that place.
Yeah.
We loved the desperation, though. It was good. And you were rewarded handsomely for that 94, 95, 95, 94.7.
Yeah.
I'm getting all these averages really good now. Yeah. I'm like, I can do it. That's 0.7.
Yeah, no, I just want to say it was really good. I really liked how in the beginning where she cradles you, because usually when you see a man and a female performing, it's usually the man holding the female. But the fact that you were holding on to her, it was just, I really liked that, and it was great body control. And like they said, you dance with a lot of emotion, and I was watching it on the screen, but I'm like, I wish I was there to see this live in person, because I even felt goosebumps watching it on the screen. So I can only imagine how it would have felt to see it live. So it just seemed effortless, and I liked it. It was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, stunning.
Yeah, let's go through some of the other dances, just because this hour is going to go by really fast. But also give us some insight, because you were spending time backstage with all of them. I love hearing about the personalities. And we'll kick it off with Jonathan and Jorge. You know, I know. So you're just going to laugh and smile, but that's what you feel like when you watch it. And this was my first introduction to them. I jumped into the cut, not having seen qualifiers or the duels.
No way.
Isn't that funny?
Okay.
So it's such a weird introduction sometimes to some of these acts. And I think, well, first of all, my brain was like, I love same-sex couples because World of Dance has no issues with it. Dancing with the Stars seems to have an issue with it. And I feel like we're at a time, I'm like, just do it, people.
Just do it.
Just do it, because the more people see it, the more people understand and are open-minded. And that's what I loved about Jonathan and Jorge. Just energy, love, strength, fun. They make me laugh every time they're on the screen.
Yeah.
They make everyone laugh behind the scenes, like all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, they dance with so much personality. It's like their personalities in the routine, and it's just so much fun. It's energetic, and I really like how Jorge moves so effortlessly. Like it's just like a feather. Like, oh my God, it was really good. I really love their intro, and it was clean. I love the trick, so I really liked Jonathan and Jorge.
Yeah. I mean, the tricks are insane.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that. The flip down in the beginning.
Yeah,
from the
shoulders.
Yeah, from the shoulder. What was that? It was amazing. Yeah, the tricks are insane. It's so hard not to smile and laugh watching it.
Yeah.
Not in like a laughing at them, but like laughing with them. They're just great
Yeah.
energy. I love them. They're great.
They're really
look like they're having
charismatic.
fun.
Yeah, charismatic.
I know, it makes you think, like, if you were, like, on vacation and these are the two guys performing, you'd come back and go, I saw the best
Yes.
performance.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
with fire.
With fire.
Yeah.
There's no fire, but it was like
Sure.
literal fire because they're incredible. Yeah. 91, 90, and 91. So their average was 90.7. This did get them, unfortunately, bumped out of the competition. But I really enjoyed them.
They represented well.
They did.
They
They had a great showing.
Yeah.
On the show.
Already another group that I thought was really interesting and fascinating and such a fusion of styles. Were you able to interact with them a lot? Because obviously they had a translator with them all the time.
So it was funny because we didn't really know how much they actually understood sometimes. So you didn't know if they were just smiling and nodding and then trying to figure it out, or if they actually knew. But one of the best moments we had was we all got dismissed for lunch. And it was this round where they had the rhinestone lips. And I have a video of one of them trying to eat with the rhinestone lips, but not touch her mouth. So she's like, it's so funny. And that was just one of the best things. And also that they give their heart to everyone when they say thank you. So it's a little heart, and they taught us that. So you say thank you,
Very sweet.
and you give someone your heart.
That's so cute.
That is so cute.
I really enjoyed it already, all the way through. Again, this was my first introduction. So when people, sometimes I think the panel was a little lukewarm on them. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, because I'm thinking the cut, I think, was one of their best routines. I love the capes. I love the fusion.
I did too. I think Derek made a good point when he said that the music sometimes was just a little bit bigger than them. But their movement's so intricate. It's so difficult, and it's so some of it's so small that I don't know. It's hard to read, I think. I mean, it's incredibly difficult, but it doesn't match the music all the time.
Yeah. I love that Paso Doble, though. They just throw in Paso, and then it's urban dance. I mean, I just loved, I didn't know where I was going all the time.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
we're
true.
going left, we're going right. Okay, great.
And that's what scared us about them. When we were thinking about how we compete against all the people, we were already is such a wild card. We have no idea what they're gonna do.
So true.
And they get the crowd going, and they're just fantastic dancers. And so you're like, I don't know what to do.
And yeah, unpredictable. That's actually kind of interesting when you think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good point.
would agree. So I was not expecting this. It gave me hip hop opera vibes. That's what I got from it. But it was really
opera.
hip hop opera.
Hip opera.
Hip opera. There we go. So yes, that's the vibes I got from it. It was really good. It was intense, and I agree with J Lo. She said it was a little bit of gangster, and I'm like, it was. It was really gangster. It had a swag about it, and I was not. It just surprised me. So I really enjoyed their performance.
Yeah, I love them as a duo. I did miss some of the humor. I feel like some of their other performances, that's what made them stood out, is they were able to make jokes during it, but still like were a solid duo. But otherwise, I thought they did a fabulous job, and I'm sad to see them go.
I know, because they were really close. I mean, they had 92 across the board, and they got knocked out at the last minute with the last group. So,
Yeah.
and you know, that's the thing. It's, you know, when you're the person that is, you know, you get an Olympic medal and you're bronze, you're like, yay, I got a medal. But when you're fourth, you're like, I just missed a medal. And I think that's probably for them what they're thinking about. That's what I would think about. It's like so close. So that's a little frustrating. Briar Nolet is next.
love her.
This has been she's been a really interesting contestant this season because I hear a lot of feedback. 50% love her. 50% are like, this is a great gymnastics routine.
They're just jealous. They're just jealous.
Haters.
But it's interesting listening to the two sides because some people are saying, well, all the tricks are now what contemporary dance looks like.
Right. Unfortunately, that's where we've taken the whole thing. Not unfortunately, but she
That's where we're
does
here.
have technique too. She does turn sequences. She does leap. I mean, she checks all boxes. So I think she goes above what you should be doing. I mean, to make it fair for everybody, it's like she's a magician out there. It's like nobody can really compete with that. But like what the stuff she does is insane. But it is. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. But everybody's doing it. So what do you do?
I know. If you go to any of the conventions, competitions,
How
this is
old
what
is
we're.
she?
She's 20, I think.
Yeah, I
20.
think her birthday had just passed when we were in the
Okay.
thing, so I think
Yeah,
she's
1920, but she's
She's
right
in
around
that
there.
generation of like legs and
Yes,
the
for
new
sure.
generation of that stuff.
I love her. I said it last week that I was looking forward to her last week. So when she performed today, I was like, yes. I was speechless. After she got done, I was just like, wow, it was stunning. She's very flexible, and she dances with her heart. You can really tell her emotion when she dances. It was very heartfelt. So I love Briar.
I have one small note for her because she's going to definitely watch this.
And because the show was not pre-taped and the outcome is already determined. But
Okay. Anyways, I just feel like I do kind of a little bit notice when she's prepping for something, like her facials change just a little bit when she's prepping for something, for a trick, or when she's like in the moment, which is like we're all very guilty of that. But I do feel like I see a little bit of an energy shift when she's like stressed out about like the huge flip she's about to do, and then when she's actually moving through.
now I'm going to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
I know. Now I want to see
I
this.
have
myself.
like a few points where I'd be like, oh yeah, I can see that something's coming. You know? I don't know.
What did you think, Princess?
I thought she did a fabulous job. I didn't connect with it emotionally the way I wanted to. But I thought she did amazing. She has no bones. I don't know how she does it. But yeah, I think she's been strong from the get-go. And especially her redemption round, for me, that was the performance that I had more of a connection to. But I'm excited to see more from her, and her costume looked better this time as well.
You like the Leo?
Yes, I liked it this time. But yeah, I thought she did fabulous.
I have
feel
her in
like-
studio on Tuesday too, by the
Oh,
way.
nice.
I feel like you asked me like why I feel like certain things are emotionally connected. Why do you feel like you didn't?
I don't know. I don't know if it was her. I want like.
Or what would you have wanted more of to feel that or something?
I don't know. I don't know. It might have been all of the flips. I don't know. There are some times when the person's face, like when JDC performs, I can feel it from them. I can see it from their head to their toe. Like they are this message. They connect to it. They're crying or whatever. For her, I don't know if it's just to me. I see a game face, and when I see a game face, there's no emotion to me. Like you're in war mode, you're in competition mode, which is cool, but I think that might be it. I don't know. It's a good point.
Well, the judges rewarded her handsomely, 93, 96, 97. So 95.3. She was the top of the leaderboard in this division.
I have a question because we were talking a little bit about costuming. We need to debunk we don't know exactly information on when do you get costumed by the show? Is that a thing?
Second round is what I was
Is it
told.
second round or is it like never or can you choose?
It's a toss-up.
Okay.
Because our first 2 rounds,
Okay.
Maddie and I dressed ourselves.
Oh, you did?
First 2.
But wardrobe comes in, and even everything you bring in, they alter it for you. Like,
that's nice.
like we brought in the mesh Leos we wore on the duels round, but they added the metallic shenanigans
They
to it.
zhuzhed it up.
Yeah. And so wardrobe is always there supporting you, whether you're bringing your costume or they're the one doing it. But for this round, this was when they were like, here's a rack of clothes. Go through and find what you want. And we were like, wow.
Ooh,
How fun.
that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Maddie's dress was pretty expensive.
I love
So
that.
nice.
You have to make sure it
Yeah.
works with everything that you're doing. You're not getting tangled up in it. That's really important.
Yeah, it looks great.
The wardrobe department's amazing.
Yeah, Marina is an Emmy winner.
Yes.
So
Oh my God. I
no
love her.
joke. She's no joke with what she does. All
And
right.
she was pregnant.
She was.
Yeah. While our season was going on, she was pregnant.
Oh my God. how
Love it.
cute.
Battling right through it. All right, we're going to have to speed up just a little bit because we still have junior team to run through, too. D'Angelo Brothers, Neo is no-yo when it comes to judging tap. I'm sorry.
Or Naya.
Or Nia.
Nia.
He's a no-yo for me. He's a no-yo for me. I thought that they were very clean. I'm sorry, guys. This has been a frustrating season with his judging, especially when it comes to tap and ballet, and I'm at my end of my rope.
Yeah, this for the D'Angelo brothers, I love their song selection, and I will say, so far out of the tap performance we've seen on this particular season, this is probably the best performance I've seen on a season. Their performance tonight, so I liked it. I had no issues with it, and I love the music choice because it was an issue before with the music conflicting with the sounds of the tap where we couldn't hear it.
We could hear everything.
So we could hear every single thing this time, and so that's why I said I love the song selection. So it really brought out the tapping, and it was also an issue with them using their upper body along with the tapping. So I feel like they had use of their arms and stuff that they incorporated into the routine as well.
I think it was great. I'm not defending Neo, whatever. But I am going to say he probably represents a lot of America when he just has no, like, his brain doesn't understand tap because he's never done it, he's never tried it. To him, he's like, wow, they're shaking their feet. But, like, really, like, if you look at it, if you break it down, you're like, oh my God, that is insane. I mean, shuffle ball change is like,
I know.
tough enough.
I was with Kyle Van Newkirk yesterday, and he was trying to teach me just like a couple little like collapse times, and I could not get some of the things. And he was like, "There's 3 techniques on this. You can do this," and I could do like the easy level, but level like 2 and 3, I was a hot mess in my sneakers. But
It's tough.
so hard. It hurts your feet too and your ankles. And
Yeah.
a lot of control.
Yeah.
I think it was a great routine, but you get concerned with tap.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, 90, 92, 93, so it's 91.7. They did not make it through.
But they did great.
They did great. We
did.
love them. Poppin John.
Poppin'
John. New level of emotion from him. You said that he was a great guy even backstage.
Yeah.
Great
It
dude.
seems like it.
All the time. All the time. Just so real. Like the thing you see from him is the thing you get. Amazing person.
And a legend.
Right.
Yeah. It was tonight. I really love the concept of his performance tonight. He brought something different. Tonight was something different. He put his emotion into it because before we just used to see him popping, but this time it was an emotional performance to me compared to his previous routines that he's done. So yeah, I love how he incorporated the prop into the performance as well. So I definitely enjoyed something different from him tonight. So yeah,
I'm impressed by his ability to be so strategic. Like he's been so strategic and he's leveled up every time.
That's right.
And first round, I'm like, I don't know how long can you sustain, and then he just keeps elevating. So it's impressive.
Yeah.
I think the story was really smart to do. Not only strategic, but also very cute and sweet and adorable, heartfelt, all the feels. Yeah, and I also feel like I really appreciate that you can kind of still feel that gritty street dance vibe from him too. Like underneath it all, you can like feel that street influence, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Because he worked for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, I love the use of the balloon. He did such a amazing job. I was excited when I saw him sitting with it. I was like, what is he going to do with the balloon? But I thought he did an amazing job. His outfit, I'm all about the outfits this season.
That's okay. We like that. We appreciate that. And the balloon looked like it was floating the way he positioned it. So I was kind of mesmerized by that before it popped. Intentionally, everyone. 95 across the board. Came in second. Did you get? I guess you knew by the time everyone was going. You're like, we're in. We made it.
There's like a moment in the episode where we're like, wait, that score means we're safe.
we're
okay,
safe,
cool.
right.
Now we can just watch.
Yeah, because you're like, whoa, that is intense when you're watching that. Just thinking, okay, now we know that we're going on to divisional finals.
You never sweat more than sitting on that couch waiting to see if you make it through. You're like, I'm sweating and I'm not doing anything.
All right, we're going to move into the junior team. We're going to focus in on the three teams that made it through. The other people, unfortunately, got highlights. It was a very cut routine that they showed. It was like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But we're trying to figure out what were they popping in there? Like, what were...
I think
things that they
I think
needed
the
to
mentor
highlight.
sessions took a little bit longer, took
that
a
what
little
it
bit more
was?
time. But we still are getting a little bit of the I had a dream about you, Neo, and your name is Nia. So I'm not even when that takes away 10 seconds, that's 10
Yeah.
seconds off a dance. So
Yeah.
True.
I don't really care for the editing in general on the show. Like even when we didn't have a host, it's been really weird to me the entire season.
I think they're still figuring it out. It's still kind of early.
yeah.
Season 3.
Was it weird when all of a sudden Scott Evans shows up and he was like, "Hey, I'm your host now."
Yeah, it was really funny. They're like, and the host will be here. And we're like, oh, okay.
But we were told that there was no host, and then there was a host. I mean, he was brought in late into the process, so he's a great host, though. I love his
Yes, he
energy.
Yeah,
is.
he is.
And he's another one of those where, like, I mean, everyone on that show is so phenomenal behind the scenes and on camera. You're like, this is the nicest group of people. How is everyone so nice? Everyone is so nice.
It's good to hear.
that.
Yeah, and Team Nappy Tabs behind the scenes.
Oh,
They
Oh,
run a tight ship.
Those two. So much guidance along the way. You're like, that is amazing. You see them sitting there cheering you on, and you're like, I grew up watching you, and you're telling me I'm doing a good job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
And think about this. They do all of J-Lo's every single video tour, no matter what it is. They're doing Derek's tour right now. They do, I know, they have so much going on. They do World of Dance. They do all the Disney celebrations.
Are they still on So You Think?
They do So You Think. They're probably down to like showing up at Academy and maybe 1 week if it allows, but they
Yeah.
will always show up for So You Think as well. And hire a lot of people. So, stay in touch with them. Send them emails. Because I have found that a lot of the dancers said, I just shot them an email saying, I'm interested in being a supervising choreographer. And then they're like, great, when we have a position open, we'll let you know. They're very good about bringing people up with them.
That's so great.
I know, it's incredible. And look at Derek's tour. It's Charity Anderson.
Yes.
It's and Alexis was on last season with the Pulse. There's a lot of dancers that were from World of Dance. So you never know. All right, now that I'm chit chatting, let's talk
manager,
about. I know. I was like, we gotta go. We got a time. VPeepz. Let's talk about VPeepz.
VPeepz.
Yes, I'm gonna start with you, Tiege, on this.
Oh my gosh, the pressure. This was insane. It was so innovative. These kids are so talented. We looked up their choreographer, Chris Beltran.
Chips.
Did I say
Beltran?
Chris? I meant Chips. Yeah, it's Chips Beltran.
Because his tag on
Yeah, Chips and Dip.
Chips and Dips.
Oh, that's
like
cute.
it.
That's really cute.
I think it was awesome. Their musicality, they challenged the music. I was incredibly impressed. Just innovative.
Yeah, so it was a very clean performance. They were so in sync with each other. However, Neo, I just feel like he was a little bit extra with that score. He gave him 100. It was really good, but at 100, I'm like, okay, well, Neo, okay.
He was
But it was
feeling it.
It was a
good.
good performance. And I loved hearing their backstory too, especially these teams that come from abroad. I love hearing more about where they're coming from, especially coming from the Philippines. So I was happy to hear more about their backs.
Yeah, you forget sometimes there's more at stake for some of these people that are from, whether it's underprivileged neighborhoods, whether it's a different area of the world, and what dance means to them. Because sometimes it's such a privilege for us to be like, my mom just signed me up for a dance class, and aren't I lucky? But you see how different it is.
Yeah.
Were you able to interact a lot with the junior team?
So, the Crazy Eights
Oh,
are our
baby.
team. They're
Love
like,
them.
well, I guess we can wait and talk about them when we get to them.
Yeah.
But The VPeepz, we always had the similar call time with them. And so Maddie and I would get on the bus, and then like the VPeepz would take up the rest of the bus. Like we would be by ourselves with the VPeepz on the bus, and they were always just so nice. Like everyone would pass us and be like, "Hi, hi, hi, hi." So you're just saying hi to like 30 people walking past you.
it.
Yeah, they're great.
That's
cute.
so cute.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, so the score is 100, 98, and 98, so 98.7. Obviously, top of the leaderboard in the junior team division. But I always think, I'm not sure if I'd want to be the leader coming out of this. It puts a target on your back when you get into divisional finals.
Yeah.
So.
True.
That's the tough part. Then let's talk about, I want to skip around because let's talk about Crazy Eights because I want to make sure we dedicate time. I always call them the babies. I sat in their dressing room yesterday at House of Blues. They had already left, but I was like, hey, Crazy Eights, where are you? I'm in your dressing room. They shared with Kyle Van Newkirk, and I'm like, why is a grown man sharing with babies? But their performance times and use of the dressing room were at completely different times,
Yeah.
so they really weren't sharing because I was like, that's weird.
Oh no.
I know, why would they do that? But there was no crossover, so it was totally fine. But they performed yesterday down in Anaheim. You performed today down in Anaheim. You saw them, didn't you?
Yes, of course. We had a reunion because those ones from day one, they're basically what helped Maddie and I like calm down in the qualifiers because you know when you're backstage you're there for a while and they just came walking around the corner and the whole room is like, what are these? What are those? And so we started doing like lifts and teaching them our choreography and they were teaching us theirs and like everyone came back and they were like, thank you for like playing with them and making sure they were doing stuff. We were like, no, they're great. They're so well behaved. They're so focused. They're basically taking care of themselves. And so
amazing.
they're me and Maddie's little chicken nuggets.
Aww.
So
Chicken nuggets.
yeah, so we have a special relationship with them.
Did you learn their signature L turn that Amy Barakoff teaches all of her dancers?
If my leg could do that,
Right.
I would absolutely learn that. And Amy's great too. So fantastic. Their whole group. You're just like, you love every single one of them.
I have them coming in the beginning of May, and I'm so excited. I'm such a fangirl. I'm like, I just saw the little babies. They're not babies. They're like 10 to 12, but they're so tiny.
Today I picked one of them up and she wanted to learn a lift with me and she was like, okay, so what do I do? I was like, you don't have to do anything. You're like the weight of a paperclip. Like, and so I literally like just held her straight out in front of me and she was like, wow.
Unbelievable. And I think you had video of Naya just turning and turning and turning.
The
Machines.
silent beast. She's such a monster. Like can turn and just stop on releve, which is like insanely hard for anyone who doesn't know. That's like incredible.
Unbelievable. What did you guys think of the Crazy Eights this time around?
I love them. It was such a beautiful, magical, enchanting performance. She's like you, everyone said, they're very flexible, acrobatic. And they brought my excitement back for the junior teams. Because after the VPeepz got done, the Electric Crew and JDC, I was like, nothing wowed me. But when the Crazy Eights came on, I was like, yes. So I love them.
They're amazing. And that breaking move in the back.
I know.
What?
They just kind of cranked it out.
Yeah.
They're very well cross-trained. We do know that. They can do
Yes.
more than what we're even seeing, I
I love
think.
it.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
monsters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was insane. I thought it was incredible from beginning to end. I can't imagine being that good at that age. It's kind of like, doesn't make sense
Yeah.
in my
That's
brain.
how I felt too.
Yeah. I didn't look like that
Sorry.
dancing at that age.
I'm
for
sorry.
sure.
We were doing shuffle ball changes, you know?
Yeah, that's probably about it. Yes.
That's
Jazz
the
squares.
highest I could do at that time.
I love that it's Naya that was at the center of attention. And I feel like she gets that so often. And I think that it's great when we are able to give people a platform and it's not about what they say verbally, but what their work says, and that speaks for them. And so I'm excited for her as a dancer. You know, she may have this disability that she's dealing with, but I'm excited to see how her work continues to speak on her behalf. I think that's so powerful.
She's a superhero, I said. That's what I felt like. She was like, superhero position, here she goes.
My favorite thing is I got a fist bump from Naya.
Oh.
I got a fist bump. So now
That's a
every
big
time,
deal.
now every time I see her, I just hold out my fist and she goes. Gives me a little fist bump. It's so great.
She's so cute. 91, 93, 93. So their average was 92.3. They wound up in third after Town Divas. And this one I thought I was a little bit like, I think I would have put the Crazy Eights just above Town Divas. But
Same.
Town Divas came in with a really interesting routine. They were voguing. I kind of love this, though. This felt so out of left field. very different than what Manny Castro usually does, and I think he utilized this group very well, especially in a moment where it really matters to get to that next level.
Yes, no, I really, first of all, I love Town Divas anyway, so I already love them. So tonight's performance, I love the voguing. I love the concept and the outfits. The outfits really match the routine, so I enjoyed their performance, but I enjoyed them anyway, so, you know.
Okay, Simon Cowell here.
Okay,
Tiege's
in the house.
It's a little there were some formations we were like,
Yes.
I don't know. You know what? Sometimes, are we on center? Is the person right behind them? And maybe that was a strategic thing. Maybe they wanted to split center a little bit, but I was like, for my eye, I needed maybe a little bit tighter, a little bit cleaner. Maybe the costume, too, could have been just a little bit more concise, just because when they were moving, I was like a little bit like, it's hard. It's a huge group.
Yeah.
And they're doing intricate stuff. But I loved the performance, obviously. This is getting nitpicky. But
And Neo called out the fact that they did need to clean up, and I thought that was a
gloves,
great note in that moment.
yeah, that was a good note from Neo.
Yeah, it was a
Mia.
good performance. I liked their last one better, the Gangster's Paradise. To me, that was like, I think other than JDC's like message behind their performance, to me that was their favorite by far, like thus far. But they did a great job. I left the show with the song stuck in my head, as we all know.
That's
so.
good. did you get to see Manny working his magic backstage?
Yes, absolutely. And it's just like, again! Go! Nope, we're starting again. You're like, oh my God, the amount of times I heard again, and I've just been over here for like 15 seconds.
That's great. I mean, he brings a group every season. He knows how to get his talent on TV. They've done America's Got Talent, and he hasn't gotten, well, he got his daughter on So You Think You Can Dance season 13 because she was part of the juniors, Ruby Castro.
Oh, that's right.
I was going to say nope, but yes, he did. So, yeah, she was paired with Paul Carmerian.
Right.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it. And
For
if you
sure.
want your kids on TV, guess what? You go to his studio. Because
Yeah, good
at some
call.
point, they will be on one of the competition shows, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So they wound up with a 93, 92, and 95. So Derek really gave them a nice, healthy score right there. So they wound up with 93.3, a point ahead of Crazy Eights. So who would have put, I just want to know, in the room, since there's 5 of us, who would have put Crazy Eights ahead of Town Divas?
Oh, I would have.
1, 2,
I would.
Yeah.
3. Princess is a no. Are you a
I love my chicken nuggets, but I think you
Town
gotta
Divas?
No, the Crazy Eights. But
Yeah, that's
I
what
think
we-
I think
wait.
you gotta reward the Town Divas for doing something totally
Oh,
different
yeah,
than what
yeah,
they've done
Yes.
the whole
They did.
season.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
They did.
That
They
is a
pulled
good
something
point.
totally different.
And then maybe,
Yeah.
and that's where maybe you get some of the bump in choreography points, presentation, that type of thing.
Yeah, no,
Good point.
Town Divas, like I said, I love them. But however, comparing Crazy Eights to Town Divas as far as the routine, Crazy Eights was more put together, it was more concise, on point. Because you already said that, we already discussed that Town Divas were a little bit off. So that's the only reason why I put Crazy Eights above. But everyone knows I love
We love them
Town.
both.
Yes,
We're,
we
I
love
mean,
them.
we're like,
Yeah,
this
for
is,
sure.
we love
this
them.
is like tiny little details. I do want to give a shout out to JDC, and I think, I think all of us really thought that they had 2 really strong rounds. I think the duels as well as this one for the cut, that they really showed that not only are they technically trained, but they have a lot of heart. And I don't know, I think it was Neo that said he didn't feel enough emotion from them. I kind of did, so
I was upset we couldn't see the whole performance.
I know.
Yeah,
It's hard
It's a
that's very
shame.
upsetting.
to even say anything about it, yeah.
yeah, as an artist, I've got to imagine it's frustrating.
You spend so many hours working on this piece, and it's only 90 seconds. How can we not show the whole thing? Like, there's got to be time to show all these 90-second pieces. So much work and effort and time goes into it.
Yeah, and we've had different montages over season 1 and 2. I know we spoke a lot about it in season 2, Tiege. I know we went over it over and over again during qualifiers. Like, why are we just seeing a blip of people just go across the stage? And they're like, oh, well, it's on YouTube. And I'm like, but this is a
not the
broadcast
same.
television show, and you're telling your family, I'm on TV.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah. No,
And when they edit it like that, it feels rushed for even the audience. Because I'm like, what just
Right.
happened? What just
Yeah.
happened? You know?
Exactly.
It's an inorganic flow for the
Right.
piece. You don't see an
Right.
intro, you don't see the ending, or you don't know
Right.
where you are when you start watching it.
Yeah.
Especially since they chose to do it later in the episode. It would have been one thing if they had started that process early on, but since they decided to do it in the second half, it's like we're not used to it as the audience. So back to my editing statement earlier.
Right. Another interesting note about this, the 2 divisions, Briar Nolet won her redemption round, as did Town Divas, and they're both moving on to divisional finals. So just kind of an interesting note on all of that.
Right.
That the judges didn't put them in a position where they were going to necessarily make it to the cut. They fought and they won, and they continue on.
Love that.
I know. Kind of interesting. You cannot tell us anything about divisional finals, but talk about your preparation for divisional finals.
Going into it, our goal the whole time was how do we show a different side of us every single week? Because in a similar vein as what you said to the Crazy Eights, we've both cross-trained in a lot of different things. So we have a lot under our belt. And so we just wanted to show a different side every single week. So that was the strategy this week.
How about mental strategy? Because that also is a big part of the game.
Mentally, it was one of those situations where we told ourselves, we're going against titans. Briar is amazing. Poppin John is a legend. If you fall to someone like that who you have so much respect for, it was almost like there was less pressure because we felt like they were so amazing that it's like sort of Japanese culture, an honorable death kind of thing. Like, all right, cool. If I lose to you, then you must have deserved it, but we're coming for blood.
All right. We'd like to hear that.
And you guys are incredible. So you guys are also, you guys are at the same level. So,
Thank you very much.
Now that the show is wrapped, even though we have a few more weeks, we have through May 12th, obviously, have you thought of what the next step is for the two of you?
Oh, absolutely. We're trying to find any way we can to A, teach, and B, choreograph. So we feel like there's a gap between the concert dance world and the commercial dance. And we grew up as concert dancers. And so we think, there's things that have been successful, legs, turns, leaps, flips. But we feel like we've seen that for too long. We've plateaued in the creativity level, I think, a little bit. And so we want to push people to put new things out there. And that's the stuff you see when you go see live dance in concert. And then in terms of choreographing, we want to be able to choreograph for music videos and tours, like exactly how Nappy Tabs does. We feel like we can do that. We want to change what you're seeing and have a little say in it because we think we have a different little quirky perspective on things and something to offer.
Your voice needs to be heard.
Yeah, and we want to choreograph like the Grammys, the Emmys, anything that has like something to be choreographed, we want to be on it. We want to have our hands everywhere.
I love that. We're ready for it. Yeah. And that's been a big thing. I did a panel last year. I moderated a panel on commercial versus contemporary dance and how we could bridge the gap, I should say, concert dance. And it was so heated. It was at a Dance USA conference, and it went on for an hour and a half. And it could have been probably 3 hours, honestly. And everyone was so passionate about the topic. So I love that you guys are trying to sort of help bridge that gap, because we do need people that are outside the box and can think in both boxes, though, at the same time and figure out how to bring them together.
Yeah, they don't have to be separate, and it doesn't have to be a fight.
It doesn't have to. That was the big thing. Everyone's like, the commercial dance people are like, well, you guys need to be on social media more. And, and then the concert people are like, well, you guys have more money. And, but how can you figure out how everyone can get more money? Concert dance will probably never get as well paid as commercial just because you have studios behind all this. But there are ways to elevate both sides of it.
And even the social media thing is like the hardest part of the whole thing. Like for me, as a dancer, being on social media, that's going to get you a job. People now, like, it's on audition forms now.
That's right.
How many followers do you have? By the way,
crazy.
go and follow me because it'll help me get a job.
We'll make sure that happens. We do have to wrap up, believe it or not. So why don't you lead us off by telling everyone where they can follow you?
All right. I am at Derion Loman. That's DerionLoman. And she is at Madison_Oland. OLANDT.
Fantastic. All right. AJ, why don't you lead us off?
Everyone, this is AJ. Follow me on Instagram at Crimson Pearl and check out my YouTube channel, AJ Talks.
Oh my gosh. I also need a job, so if you could follow, that'd be great. My name is Tiege Dooley-Panko. Yeah, we really need jobs. And it's at TiegDP. TIEGEDP. Just spell it for everybody. We got some spelling lessons going on.
I love it. Guys, I am Princess Carol, and you can find me on The Voice After Show Tuesday nights, and I'm also on Instagram at Princess Carol TV. It's Carol with 2 R's and 2 L's.
All right, I'm at Kristyn Burtt on Twitter, the Kristyn Burtt on Instagram. This Tuesday on To The Point, I have Artem Chingvintsev for Dancing with the Stars. I know, I'm very excited.
Right.
I know it's going to be good. Derion, we want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for all of you, we will see you next week for the Cut 2. Woo!
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.